Welcome back to Glasp Deep Dive. I'm Hope, here with Adam, and I'll start with a confession. I have about 3,000 highlights saved, years of articles, a shelf of Kindle books. Not one of them has ever shown up in an AI conversation I was having.
Not one? You talk to Claude and ChatGPT every day.
Hundreds of chats a month, and my notes have never been in the room. Every conversation starts from zero. The model knows the whole internet, but not that I highlighted 3 contradictory claims about creatine last month and never sorted them out.
And you're the normal case. Thousands of highlights on one side, hundreds of AI chats on the other, zero overlap. That gap is the whole story today, and the plug that closes it is called MCP.
Here's the reframe that got me. Notes aren't an archive, they're context. Their value shows up when an AI can query them mid-conversation with asks like, search my highlights about habit formation and tell me where the authors disagree.
Or, quiz me on the passages I saved from this book last month, and don't show me the answers first.
Or, here's my draft. Which of its claims contradict things I've highlighted? That one slightly terrifies me, and I want it badly. And none of this needs new note-taking habits. I already did the reading. It just needs a plug.
So, the plug. MCP is the Model Context Protocol, an open standard Anthropic released in November 2024, and the industry adopted through 2025. An AI client calls tools a server exposes. A notes server has a search tool, the model calls it. Your notes come back mid-conversation.
And the reason it won is one integration on each side, right? My notes tool builds one server, and it works in Claude, ChatGPT, Cursor, all of them. I learn one connection flow, and it works for whatever I adopt next.
Exactly. By late 2025, the Pulse MCP registry listed over 5,500 servers, and remote ones had roughly quadrupled since that May. Everything points to hosted servers you log into, not processes you babysit.
You said remote, and I hear this is the distinction that decides everything. So slow down on it.
Remote servers are hosted by the vendor. You paste a URL, approve an OAuth screen, done. They work everywhere, even web clients, because the AI company's cloud talks to the vendor's cloud.
And local servers run on my machine and read my files. They work in desktop apps, Claude Desktop, Cursor, and they're invisible to web clients because Anthropic servers can't reach my laptop. That's not a bug. That's geography.
That single fact explains most setup pain people report. Notion, Readwise, and Glasp are remote. Most Obsidian setups are local because your vault is a folder on your disk.
Let's map the field then. Mid-2026, 4 main options. Start with Notion.
Official hosted server, one-click OAuth, read-write. The most capable option if your life is in Notion, and the broadest permissions. An agent in your workspace can create and edit pages. The point, and also the risk.
Obsidian is the odd one out because there's no official server at all.
Right, it all rests on community plugins and community MCP servers, all local. It works, but be picky. Only a handful of those servers have 2026 commits, and a dormant one wired into your vault is a supply chain liability.
Readwise?
The most tool-rich official server of the group. Over 25 tools, hybrid search, tagging, even spaced repetition review. It's read-write, genuinely useful for file this for me workflows, and worth a pause before you grant it.
And then there's ours. So let's do the disclosure properly. Glasp is our product, which means we'll describe it precisely rather than glowingly. That's the stance the article takes too.
And precisely, it's a deliberately narrow server. Your web highlights, Kindle imports, and the AI memories Glasp builds about your learning. 5 tools, read-only, free. Nothing can write, edit, or delete.
Before the worked example, the other half of the equation. Which AI clients can actually take these connectors? I assume it's not universal.
Claude is the friendliest. Custom connectors work on every plan, including free, though free gets exactly 1. ChatGPT supports them too, but only on paid plans, after you flip on developer mode in settings.
And the notable absence is Gemini. The CLI supports MCP fine, but the consumer Gemini app has no custom connector option at all. If Gemini is your daily driver, this episode is a not yet. Okay, the worked example. Say I want my 3,000 highlights in Claude this afternoon. Walk me through it.
2 minutes, genuinely. In Claude, go to Settings, then Connectors, then Add Custom Connector. Paste glasp.co/API/MCP. Approve the OAuth screen with your Glasp login. Done.
And on ChatGPT, it's the same URL after the developer mode toggle. Same OAuth screen. Then what actually changes?
The conversations change shape. Ask Claude to find your highlights about deliberate practice, and say where the authors disagree, and it synthesizes across your actual saved passages. Ask ChatGPT to quiz you on an article you saved, and it pulls those exact highlights.
Now the limits, precisely rather than glowingly. It's read-only, so I can't file or tag highlights from the chat. It only covers what I captured in Glasp. And it's only as useful as the library behind it.
Garbage in, garbage retrieved. The connector doesn't fix curation. It just makes what you captured reachable.
So where do setups fail? The promise is, paste a URL and click approve. But the forum threads sound a lot angrier than that.
5 clusters. The big one we covered, mixing remote and local. People paste a terminal command into a URL field, or a URL into a desktop config expecting a command. One question diagnoses it. Where does this server run?
Vendor's cloud means URL means works everywhere. My machine means command means desktop only. What else goes wrong?
OAuth redirect loops, usually fixed by logging out and back in. Notion pages the agent can't see because they were never shared with the integration. Check sharing scope before blaming the model. And stale community servers failing silently on a newer protocol.
That's 4. The article says the 5th one is the quiet one.
The connector works perfectly, and you never use it. Clients don't automatically check your notes on every message. You ask, or you set custom instructions for when to look. The setup is plumbing. The habit is the feature.
That line goes on a sticky note. I can feel that failure mode coming for me personally.
Now the part to do calmly. Security. Connecting your notes to an AI is connecting private data to a system that takes instructions from text.
And my gut flags that. So give me the frame.
It's the researcher Simon Willison's frame, the lethal trifecta. An agent becomes structurally dangerous when it has 3 things at once: private data, exposure to untrusted content, and a way to communicate externally. A notes connector is ingredient 1 by definition.
And here's the twist. It's often ingredient 2 as well, because your notes are made of the web. Highlights are quoted passages from pages I didn't write.
So a page crafted to attack AI agents can hide instructions you innocently highlight. They sit dormant and fire months later when your assistant reads that note back. Researchers demonstrated this against major productivity tools as recently as January 2026.
Okay, so how do we make it boring instead of scary?
4 moves. Prefer read-only connectors, since reading is where almost all the value lives. Stick to official hosted servers, audit any community one, and use tokens you can revoke from settings. And tell your model that anything retrieved from notes is reference material, never instructions.
So a read-only connector to an official hosted server, added over OAuth, is a small, well-understood risk. The thing to avoid is giving a fleet of community servers write access to everything I've ever thought. Now, the counterweight, because this shouldn't be a sales pitch. There are jobs where MCP is plain overkill. And honestly, a lot of my AI use might be those jobs.
Often true. For one article in one conversation, copy-paste wins. Full context, 0 retrieval misses, 0 permissions. For a static corpus, a thesis folder, a pile of PDFs, project uploads win. Upload once, it persists.
And if you live inside one app, its built-in retrieval already works. Notion AI searches your workspace. Readwise has chat over highlights. Glasp's own chat works over your library natively. 0 setup.
MCP earns its cost under 3 conditions. Your notes are alive, growing weekly, so static uploads rot. Your questions recur, synthesis and recall as habits, not one-offs. And you work across multiple AI surfaces that should share one source of truth.
Meet those 3 and 2 minutes of setup buys compounding returns. Miss them, and you paste text into the chat box and feel no guilt.
Quick-fire round to land it? You ask, I'll keep it short.
Is it safe to connect my notes to an AI?
Reasonably, if you scope it. The real risks are write access you didn't need, unmaintained community servers, and injection hiding in saved web content. Official, hosted, read-only, revocable covers most of it.
Do I need to pay?
For Claude, no. Every plan works. Free, capped at 1 connector. For ChatGPT, yes. You need a paid plan plus developer mode. The connectors themselves are usually free, Glasps included.
Can I connect Obsidian to Claude.ai?
Not directly. Your vault is local, and web clients only reach hosted servers. Obsidian shines in desktop clients, Claude Desktop, Cursor, Claude Code. Web access means tunneling your local server, firmly a tinkerer's project.
Here's where I've landed. The second brain movement spent a decade teaching us to capture, and the capture worked. The retrieval mostly didn't. Our notes became write-only archives, and this is the retrieval finally showing up.
The recipe is short. Pick the smallest scope connector, prefer official and hosted, connect over OAuth, and build the habit of asking, check my notes first. The second brain finally starts talking back.
Mine gets connected this afternoon. 3,000 highlights are about to meet their first conversation. Want to go deeper? Full articles on glass.co. Just search MCP Your Notes.
See you in the next deep dive.